Hello and welcome to all you wonderful people out there trying to make the world a better place. Welcome to the Dead Man Walking podcast. I am your host, Repeatedly Dead Fred, author of the soon to be released memoir, The Summer I Died 20 Times, which is what actually happened to me. And that's how I got the name Repeatedly Dead Fred. Today, once again, we have the fabulous Nicole Attias from Prospect2Win. Hi, Nicole. Thanks for coming
Hi,
on.
how are you? It's good to be back with you.
I'm doing well, thanks. Um, Today, we just wanted to have a short conversation about reaching out to people on LinkedIn, which I think everybody gets hammered on LinkedIn with all these messages from people trying to sell them services. So,
Yep. You know what I've seen? I've seen people do it in genuine ways. I've seen people do it automated. So they could get these automated messages. And then
mhm,
every time, the prospect, you or I respond, then boom, there's an immediate response that's like a paragraph or two. And then when we
mhm,
respond to that, then there's another immediate response with another paragraph. You're
mhm.
speaking to a bot.
Yeah, I wish
Yeah.
I could figure out how to set up an automated response to tell them to leave me alone.
Go away. Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
So one specific message I wanted to talk about is that I got early in the month, unsolicited. So I guess a very, very cold call where
Mhm.
the guy was not very genuine. It seemed genuine initially, but there was a little skullduggery behind it.
Okay.
So he started off with a reference to my alumni, which I'm very involved with. So he started off saying, "Nice to see there's an Asper alumni finally on Facebook." And
LinkedIn,
oh, sorry, LinkedIn. Yeah, we did
right.
that in the pre-chat too, or I did that. Sorry. Um, so I thought, oh, is this just somebody I've missed over the years? And so I said, okay, I'll connect with you. And then the next message was nothing to me. And it turns out this guy has nothing to do with my alumni. And it was just, here's a bunch of services I want to sell you because we help consultants all the time. And I'm not even a consultant. I'm trying to be an author. So, and a mini podcaster. So they had
Right.
nothing. Um, so he
Yep.
didn't read my profile, didn't read anything about me, and it's not going to go well for him.
No, and you know what? A lot of people do this. It's great to find that common ground, a reason for
Mhm,
getting in touch, finding that common ground, a way in to get the conversation going. That's great.
mhm,
But if it's not genuine, right? It's, we both know each other from this group, or we both know each other from XYZ, right? Okay, great. Now, so, right? That's a good way in. It's smart. But then the problem is if it's not genuine, it's going to show up right away, which is, we know each other. Great. This is what I do. Well, maybe they don't care what you do. Maybe they're not
mhm,
interested in what you do. Maybe the timing of sharing what it is that you do it's too soon. It's too forced. It's a pitch,
mhm,
right? It's not a genuine chit chat.
mhm. I'd much rather have somebody say, I know we don't know each other, but I'd love to hear about your business. Maybe I
Yeah.
can learn more about you, and then maybe I could come and offer you a service. It seems everything's backwards.
People have no more time, right? These days,
Mhm,
no time. I'm going to do this, boom, 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 next. Doesn't work with this one. Okay, again, next. And that's the issue. And it
mhm,
shows. It shows. And look, I get it. If you're selling all day every day, I understand you want to get through it quick. You want to not waste time. I understand all that, but if the genuine interest is lost, like if
mhm,
you're really not into it, but you're just doing it like a robot, might as well just
mhm,
get a bot, right? It just shows. So I
mhm.
think that's what you're talking about.
Yeah. Um, I think everybody agrees that relationship buying and selling is much more effective than this pure transactional stuff.
Yes.
And I had my friend Steve Fleischer on the other day, and that's what he was talking about. That he's switched his attraction, I guess, or interactions away from transactional to more relationship. As a matter of fact, he doesn't even ask people if they need his service. He just goes into, tell me where your career is at right now.
Right.
And then,
You have to have a
maybe,
genuine interest in people, right?
mhm,
It's like if you're not a people person, you don't have to be like this outgoing individual, but you have to like people. And if
mhm,
you don't like working with people, dealing with people, and you're just, like you said, transactional, then, it just doesn't work.
yeah. I also think you have to be curious. You have to
Hmm.
be curious about people as well. And that helps you find out more about them and what their needs might be. And if you actually have something you can offer them, as opposed to, just throwing all the spaghetti across, against the wall and finding out what sticks. And
Yeah,
it's usually not a large amount.
yeah, exactly. Look, it's a learning curve for new reps. It's a learning curve for, people who are just starting out. But what's really scary is that if people think that they can do that always, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I hear you. You're right. You're 100% right on this one.
So, well, that's nice to hear. I don't hear that very often. Um, so he sent me, I think, 5 follow-ups.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
wow. All on
and
LinkedIn.
yeah, and the last one was something like, I'm just sending it so it'll pin at the top of your messages.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
He didn't even pick up the phone to follow up with the message. It was just one method. LinkedIn, LinkedIn, 5 times, 6 times. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's pushing it. People know that you've reached out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Prospects know. They're just deliberately not wanting to respond back. They know on
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn, right? Just
Yeah.
like they know, well, emails could get lost, but on LinkedIn they know, right? We're
Mm-hmm.
on our phones all the time. We know what's going on all the time. We just choose to respond or not respond, right?
Mm-hmm.
We know. It's not, oh, I missed this. They're aware, mostly 5 times,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. Obviously, you haven't hit a hot button for me, or, scratched an itch or anything, or I'd
Hmm.
get back to you. I don't want to sit around with problems that I don't know how to deal with. And if you had something magical for me, I'd really get back in touch with you.
Yep.
So it's a waste of your time, it's a waste of my time. And kids, if you're new in the sales business or business development, I think you can learn a good lesson from this is be genuine and do a little bit more research. Like if he had just read my profile for another 30 seconds,
Right.
he could have sent a much more effective message first attempt.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a learning curve for these guys for sure.
Mhm. So is this also one of the services that you offer when you're working with clients, is teaching
Sales
them how to
consulting.
do?
Sales consulting. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I look at the situation and I offer a couple of good solutions to implement, when people are making calls, when they're reaching out, when they're following up, when they're presenting, all of it.
Yeah. And I also understand if you're newer in the business and you haven't gotten good training, this would seem to be the easiest way
Hmm.
to approach a new client, because some people have that call reluctance or fear of meeting new people. But
Hmm.
when you're presenting yourself as an experienced professional, there's just such a disconnect in my mind anyway, probably in other people's minds, that you just don't know how to approach me. So how are you going to solve my problem?
Right. Right. It's true. It's true. It's about learning a little bit about the individual. And if you don't know a lot, you can just come out and say, look, I'm trying to learn more and I'd like to ask some questions. That's
Mhm.
okay too. But like you said, be genuine and, upfront. be transparent. And, I think sometimes people try too hard just because they know, there's some nasty people out there will tell them where to go, right? And so they figure if they, go a different angle, then that's going to work out. And it's true to a point,
Mhm.
but I understand why it's happening.
Mhm. And there are some nasty people, but for the most part, most people are fairly professional and they're not going to rip your head off, or they'll
Well,
just ignore you.
you'll be surprised. Yeah, you're right. You'll get ignored, but you'll be surprised if some people just get bombarded by different, companies calling them about the same thing, and
Mhm.
then they've had enough. So they'll just say, I'm getting calls like this all the time. Like, how did you get my name? How did you get my number? What list did you, they want to know
Mhm.
how you got their information, and they just kind of put you through a bit of a tough time. It
Mhm.
happens all the time. And I
Mhm.
think that is what scares people away from following up and trying to get to know and doing all the right things. They get scared and they get put off, and then they try to pull a maneuver like this on LinkedIn.
When I was in sales, if somebody said, "Where did you get my number?" If that was the worst thing that happened to me, that would have been a blessing. you
Right.
know, People can be much nastier than that. So,
Oh yeah. Yeah, but it's the tone. It's the way they make you feel when they say
mhm.
it. It's their tonality. It's nasty.
Mhm.
Okay, it's just wrong. It's like, how did you get this? I want to be removed. Don't call here again. And that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
But you're right.
that's true.
You're right.
It's always fun. There's always something new to learn, and so for yourself, going off on a bit of a tangent,
Sure.
what do you use as a resource for yourself to keep you positive and on track? And maybe there's other sales gurus out there that you reference their materials or things like that. How do you keep Nicole being Nicole?
Well, I love researching, different people. I like
Mhm.
learning from different people. A lot of these ideas are not new, right? No one's
Mhm.
reinventing the wheel. It's just their delivery and their approach might be a little different, but there's nothing new here. So I like to find people that motivate me. I do
Mhm.
that. Um, and I just like to stay on top of things that way, really. Like
Mhm.
you could read, you could watch videos, like whatever it is for you, but that's what I like to do. I like
Mhm.
to do that. And
Yeah.
some days you're having an off day, or different things happen. So I find those little, like a 5-minute motivational video might work.
Mhm.
And what I like might be totally different from what you like, but it doesn't matter. Like for me, that's what I like to do.
Mhm. Every so often, I find an old Zig Ziglar clip, if you remember
Oh
Zig
yeah.
Ziglar,
Yeah.
and then I think last week I found a Brian Tracy YouTube,
Yeah.
and he was the first sales trainer I ever encountered, and I really thought he's like 120 years old by now, but he's
Right.
still vibrant and active, and still quality information.
Well, let
So,
me qualify this. It's not just sales people that I look up,
mhm,
not, sales gurus, like you said. It's more mindset, um,
mhm.
coaches. I love Bob Proctor and all his
Oh,
stuff,
sure.
right? I like mindset related material because it's all connected to anything you do, anything
Mhm.
personal, business, sales, anything. So that's the kind of stuff that I like to learn and just sort of keep myself motivated.
Mhm. I was actually on a podcast, I don't know, 6 months ago, maybe. And excuse me, the gentleman had been trained by Bob Proctor.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was pretty fascinating. It's not
And he was
often
good.
you get an audience with the guru.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's amazing. He trained so many people, and it's funny because I've heard of this man's name for years, but I
Mhm.
didn't really listen to his stuff, learn about his thinking and ways. I didn't get into it until much later. I heard the
Mhm.
name, but I didn't look into it until I started watching other people that were coached by him. And I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, wow, I really like this guy. Now he's mentioning Bob Proctor. So
Mhm.
I'm going to go start looking into who Bob Proctor was, right?
Mhm.
So that's how it happened for me because I didn't know who he was. I just kept
Mhm.
hearing he's this, he's that, he's great. I'm like, okay, okay. But it didn't, nothing happened for years until I had
Mhm.
my process. And that was genuine, right?
Mhm.
Wasn't, oh, I'm doing this because so and so did it. And that's another big sales pitch that people use. Oh,
Mhm.
follow this guy. He's amazing. And but it has to happen naturally, and that's how it happened for me.
Mhm. And for those in the audience who don't know who Bob Proctor is, he's from Toronto or the Toronto area. I think he
He is
passed
from
last year.
Toronto. Yeah.
Um, but he's pretty much the foundational guy behind programs like the Law of Attraction and The Secret.
Yeah. Mindset, programming your mind, how the subconscious mind works, um, why we do the things that we do, and how to reprogram it. I mean, one of the things he talks about is I don't know what the percentage is, I don't
Mm-hmm.
remember, but a good majority of our day to day, we're on autopilot,
Mm-hmm.
right? And whatever program we have is based on our upbringing, school, friends, people close to us, and we don't question those things. We just automatically do it. Like I'm having my coffee at this time, for
Mm-hmm.
example, something small. I'm automatically doing it. Why? Because I do it every day at this time. And that's how our mind works. So reconditioning is very difficult because the mind fights back. And this is the kind of stuff that Bob used to teach,
Mm-hmm.
right? How to overcome our patterns of behavior. And it's fascinating, and it's not an easy thing to do. It is not an
No,
easy thing to do.
definitely not. But I think you've hit on an important point in that if you're so into your own routine, you're going to block yourself from potential opportunities that are going to come across your life
Mm-hmm.
because you just don't have that mental agility to say, oh, I've never thought about something like that before. And this could be good for me. It could be good for my family. It could be good for a client or a potential client.
Right.
So doing these, accessing these resources to make you more mentally agile or emotionally agile are going to give you a huge, huge advantage over your competition.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Okay. So I think that's all I have for today, unless you have something else you want to add.
Yeah, watch what you do on LinkedIn. Just watch what you do. Watch how you approach people, really, at the end of the day, and stay
Mm-hmm.
motivated in whichever way that works for you, because we're all different.
Mm-hmm.
Figure it out, find out, learn, and everything's a step. Everything is a process. Mostly because I think we're really reaching out to younger people today, right? So that
Mm-hmm.
would be my message.
And it's a good one. So thank you, Nicole, for coming on again. I think this is number three.
It
Uh,
is.
hope,
It is number
hope,
3.
hopefully, we'll have a number four in the new year. And to everybody watching and listening, thank you for tuning in to the Dead Man Walking podcast. If you want to get a hold of Nicole at Prospect2Win, you can
Yeah.
call.
Nicole at prospect2win.com. Send me an email.
Yes. And she will find some common ground with you and help you find a way to move your career forward. Thanks. And it's the end of December. So Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all of you, or whatever holiday you celebrate. And hope to see
Happy
you next
Hanukkah.
episode. Happy Hanukkah. Bye bye.
Bye.